I know what you are. Say it. Out loud. Say it. Submissive. Howdy ho! And happy Halloweener! And welcome back to Whole Chat, a boy love and girl love podcast that's just, feeling a little vampy today. With me today is someone who has unfortunately seen more Twilight than she ever wanted to in her entire life. Keelz.
I've seen way too much Twilight in my entire life. You're exactly right. So your weird little Twilight quote there sent me back in time.
You know what's great? I just watched that scene for the first time. I've never seen it. I only watched it so I could deliver this properly, and I already knew how to do it, because I've never seen it.
You know how you chipped my elbow with your phone once?
Yeah.
I'm about to return that favor.
Why?
Because I wish I'd never seen Twilight in my whole fucking life. You goddamn bragger. I could kill you. I have the worst experience with Twilight. And I'm gonna go on a mini rant because no one can fucking stop me.
Go off, queen.
I had to read the Twilight series so someone's parent could decide if it was okay that their child read it. Their child was 3 years younger than me. And I'm in college, so they're in high school. But their parent was like, I'm worried it'll send them to the devil. My dumbass decided to read the whole fucking thing because by the time I was in college, it was almost all of it was out, I believe. Like, most of it was out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I read it, and I did not mind the first book. I'll say that. Did not mind the first book. I thought it was, cheesy and teenage angsty, but I'm like, but this is a good thing for teens.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. I read it. And then I said, yeah, first book is good. They are good to go to read the series. This adult, could you please read the whole series that's out just to make sure it's still trending in a Christian way? And I was like, as long as you buy the books and pay me, sure. I should have asked for way more money.
Mm-hmm.
Way more money for what I put myself through.
Mm-hmm.
No insult to anyone who likes the book, but for me, it was not for me. It was not for me. I was raised on Anne Rice. These vampires were not for me. But I read the whole thing, and even if that had turned out to be satanic drivel, I still would have said the series is fine. Because I'd been lying to this woman for years about the type of stuff her kids should be allowed to read.
Because you're a real one.
Girl, if, her mom ever bothers to read any of the books that I've actually said, sure, she can read that, she's gonna snatch my wig. Anyways. So, read all those books, and I was like, okay, well, whatever. Wasn't my favorite, wasn't the worst. Then, the next experience I had with Twilight is one of my friends was in a terrible, tragic mood, and I won't say why, but the only thing that would cheer her up is if I went and saw the new movie with her, the new Twilight movie. I had just finished reading the books for my stupid little job, I'll call it. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll go see it with you because you're having a miserable time and I want you to feel better. This movie is ass. The books are bad enough. And then you look at the movie and I'm like, I personally didn't feel like it was a very good adaptation to the books. And I have issues about movie adaptations. Yes and no, we can't do everything, but we can try to do some of it. And I was just like, oh, in my head, the characters are definitely one way, and the ground wasn't blue, because, everything was shot in with, this blue, weird fucking film. I don't know, what is it called? Filter? Yeah, this blue fucking filter. Painted weird makeup lips. I could not get over how weird Edward's lips looked. I was like, you are wearing, what shade of lipstick, dog, is that? That's so much. It was a fucking nightmare. And then I was like, okay, I did it for my friend. Did not cheer her up. She was like, wow, that was worse. Because she liked the books. So then to see that shit, she was now like, well, now I'm extra upset. I was like, okay, that didn't work. And then 3 years later, my brother's girlfriend moves in, and I am subjected to her watching, like, Twilight every damn time she's in the living room. Every damn time.
I love you so much.
I would like to die.
I understand.
Happy Halloween. Podcast over. Goodbye.
Well, we are doing a spooky story today, though it's only partially because of vampires.
More like triggering.
It's only the first. Hey, I was the one that triggered you. This story, I don't think it's going to trigger you. I triggered you. That's different. We're going to be chatting about Blood Bank, a 2015 manhwa by Silb that has a unique take on vampires and vampire society with a healthy dose of psychological horror.
What's their name? Silb?
Silb. S-I-L-B.
Silb. Okay.
Silb.
Silb.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is one that I read pretty early in my manhwa journey, so I remember I read Killing Stalking, and then I read multiple other things that involved children almost getting murdered for some reason. Read quite a few of those, and then I got into this, and it really did give me
Scooby-Doo of Yaoi. What happened?
No, it was the one with the like bullying the disabled kid, and then
that one.
Yeah, that one, and then the other one where the kid's like a little bit of sociopath and like accidentally kills somebody.
Yeah.
I was reading a lot of stuff about children killing each other.
The one with the disabled kid, that's not a Yaoi, is it?
No.
Damn, that would be
It's really, really good.
Like, if you ever just like, hey, you know what? No Yaoi today, but a good comic, you should do that one.
Right, but so I was reading those things, and while those had their, tense moments, obviously you saw it coming, this is a story that gave me whiplash. It just grabbed me by the face and said, look what we're doing. Now over here. Now over here. Now over here. And I was not ready for it, but it is now one of my favorites. I talk about it all the time. I tell everybody I know to read it. If they're ever looking for like something with vampires in it that's interesting and doesn't have some weird wishy-washy moment, or doesn't end up like How to Raise a Bat, or that other one that I really don't like, it stays the course in a very interesting way. But also, I do have to warn, we're going to be talking about BDSM today. So if you don't want to hear about that, don't. We're going to be talking around a handful of other kind of rough subject matter. We're going to be talking about some level of like injustice and stuff like that. So this is your warning that if you don't want to hear about something that has honestly got horror elements in a psychological way, in a fantasy way, and then also kind of in a, I don't know, real life way, this may not be for you. You might want to shelve this. But if you want to be horrified, let's fucking go.
Mm-hmm.
Our story opens with a little narration about how humans are primitive and therefore must bow down to their more evolved counterparts, vampires. Right off the gate, I know. These words lay over a scene of a dark-haired man with glasses, hands shackled, being led by a chain attached to a thick collar. The man at the other end of said chain is blonde and dressed like a Regency-era noble. He is identified as a vampire, leading his poor prey past his vampire kin and into a decked-out red room. Once inside, the chain changes hands, now being held by the dark-haired human as he asks a kneeling and desperate vampire how he will pay for shaming his master. This is but a taste of what's to come. So we gotta rewind back to several months before in a significantly less horny atmosphere.
Was the vampire calling the black-haired guy his master?
Uh-huh. So we get the narration being like, vampires rule humans, and then immediately sloppy little blonde man.
Alright, before we get any further, I'm just going to say it. This is all kinds of levels of fucked up already.
Yeah.
Because we have like, humans are clearly slaves, cattles, overtaken by vampire lords.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go into a room where it gets switched where the vampire's like, oh, punish me, master, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is so fucked up. Because, like, it's not, no one's on equal footing at all.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so incredibly fucked up. Just right away, it's got some psychological horror to it.
See, right, you are coming in this correctly. I came into it being like, I've been reading child murdering slop. You know what I mean? And so I'm just like, I don't know, fuck it. I guess we'll read this. And to be fair, I had read something else vampire related that said it was going to get dark and kind of fucky a little bit, but just mostly be about vampires living in life. And then it got really stupid. And so I know that I just didn't believe this. So the warning signs were there and I was like, eh. What are you gonna do to me? Honestly.
I love that. Though.
What's the worst you could do? So,
honestly, though, like, after reading, like, those other comics, I can see why you're not expecting anything from this. But I'm sitting here fresh and triggered because you brought up Twilight.
I'm sorry.
So I don't trust anybody. It's just, I'm fascinated by BDSM. We're queer. We know what BDSM is. I think like when you are gay, queer, whatever, there are 3 things you know about right away. Pride, BDSM, and leather daddies. Like, I think it's just like, you suddenly know.
They hand you a little chip when you come out. With a quick explainer on all of these things.
Like a pamphlet. You just know about it. And
there's a QR code.
And so, like, power play when there's not equal power between the couples for real, that should be taken as, like, a red flag.
Yeah.
It can be handled correctly.
Yeah.
Like, let's say daddy's a hardworking CEO and his wife is a stay-at-home mom. Both jobs equally respectable. We are not insulting the jobs here. But viewed in society, people might have more respect for the CEO. They're wrong, but that's how it is. And so then daddy comes home, flips the script, mommy's the dommy, and they have a good time, and they have an established hierarchy. It's fine. Everything's good. They're fine. People judging their relationship might see that as unbalanced, but if they are communicating correctly and working through it correctly, everything's balanced, everything's kosher. Let's say this CEO does this to a subordinate who maybe he feels like he can't say no because that could cost him his job. No, we don't want that BDSM.
Yes.
That is an unsafe BDSM.
Correct.
This is a slave human to a vampire master. I'm sure the human's going to have fun kicking the shit out of that vampire. But we also are like, ooh, mentally not good for him. Red flag.
Well, that's going to be our BDSM power play explainer for the episode. I don't have to say that later, which is great, actually.
Sorry.
So, no. We've got it all up out here at the front. Go with that. Keep that in mind as I continue to regale you with this, okay?
Again, sorry. My brain is like, I don't like.
Yeah. Good. You're on a good path. So, we're going to rewind back to a bank, to be specific. The narration is back to, now overlaying the daily life of our dark-haired, bespectacled main character, 1. His name is 1. That is also important for later. I'll explain why.
Like the number?
Yeah, like the number 1.
Pause. Jesus Christ. And your little ass didn't think this was dark?
I read Killing Stalking right before this. My brain just gave up. It just didn't care anymore.
I need alcohol for this podcast.
I'm not saying I was being smart. Yeah, so 1 rather cheerfully explains how he is a banker of blood, a privileged position that is bestowed on few humans, alternately supplying and storing liters of blood for their vampire overlords. He works at the largest of such banks in their country, the Midlands, and is proud of his impeccable work. This already seems a little dystopian, right?
Uh-huh.
We can get worse, though.
Fun.
Years and years ago, it is said that their world was covered in fire, leaving behind a barren and bitter cold that overtook the planet.
So a nuclear bomb.
We never get a confirmation, but with how things are going, one of my theories is that it was that. One of my theories is that it was something else.
Nuclear winter.
But it's something. It's something. Because we don't know how far ahead in the future it is. So it could have been that. It could have been something else. But something happened for sure. Thanks to the intelligence, vitality, and benevolence of vampires, the humans were saved from extinction and are now very lucky to have such great opportunities to serve their saviors. 1 also emphasizes the use of vampires' pheromones, a trait unique to their species that has somehow also benefited the creatures of this earth. So one's explaining all this, and then like at the same time we're getting an introduction to 2 other characters, 9 and 13. 9 being a close colleague of 1's, and then 13 is his work rival.
Okay, so all humans are probably going to have a number name.
Yes. This is the point where you start realizing, oh, they all have number names. And to be fair, when I first read this, I thought they had numbered names because they worked at the bank, and that's how they were...
Yeah, like it might have been a job name.
Yes, I thought it was a job name.
I'm not going to, like, smack your hand for that. That's a good thought to have. Maybe they're a real secretive place. Everyone has a code name.
Yes.
Mr. Pink, Mr. Yellow, Mr. Red. Yeah, that shit.
That's what I thought. And when you hear the vampire names, you're going to think even harder. Well, no wonder you thought that. You know what I mean? I had a lot of reasons to think this was just like, we're doing naming conventions for, a reason, right? But yeah, so we get to meet 9 and 13 while he's explaining all this. Walking towards a much-needed food break with 9, one's narration is about to address the specifics of pheromones when a fancily dressed vampire in a modified plague mask crosses their path, a strange red mist emanating from him. 9 trembles as the vampire passes, giving a clue as to how these pheromones affect humankind. 1, seemingly unaffected by the pheromones, comforts 9 and would likely have aided him further if it weren't for a summons to the branch manager's office. I'll show you real quick that we have 1, this is the most pure, normal looking that he's probably going to be. This is his buddy 9. I don't have a picture of 13 yet, but 13 is a black man, and I was very excited to see a black person in a Korean manhwa. I was like, yay, we made it! But also, he's an asshole. And then this is the guy with his plague mask coming along, kind of thing. I will say, too, I say Regency clothing in here, I think, a couple of times, but really, they're it's a steampunk aesthetic, so it's very, they take a little bit from Regency, a little bit from Victorian times, but steampunk is relying on the idea that we didn't start relying on gasoline and fossil fuels, that we kept using coal and steam to, get ahead or whatever. You can look it up. I feel like if you're listening to this podcast, you probably know what steampunk is, or you know someone in your life that's a steampunk or steampunk adjacent, but that's what they're doing. It's not as overdone, I think, as some people can get into steampunk thing, but there's just a flavor of it running throughout the comic. So, there's a quick flash to the outside of the bank, revealing the arrival of a certain blonde-haired vampire, dressed to the nines and wearing his own spooky little face mask. Which his is, black and gold, and it has, molded teeth. The mask looks very hard. It looks very street. But then we've already seen this blonde vampire in a state of undress begging for it, so it kind of takes the edge off of seeing him like this. The name of said vampire bursts forth from one's mouth in incredulity as his boss, the branch manager, explains his newest task. One must provide the operation reports to the Blood Lord and future owner of the bank, the great and powerful Shell Overlord.
What?
His name is Shell Overlord. That is his name. That is not his title. That is his name.
I'm tempted to take away a hole just because I think maybe this person is bad at names.
So, there is a pattern to this, and it actually is written in that the vampires seem to be bad at names. And we don't know specific... No. Legitimately, they all have weird fucking names, and I believe they are based on, more on abilities and what they expect from them, and what they think sounds tough. Because they are so far removed from their own ancestors, none of them have regular names. And in fact, there's a character in here who does have a regular name, and everyone's like, wow, it's from the storybooks. And I'm like, oh, whatever fucking happened erased a bunch of their history too, and so they're just wilding on names.
They're like, oh my god, that's Vampire Kristen. Oh my god.
No,
that's
that's legitimately what it is. And a character in here has the most boring, basic ass name. His name is Eric, and everyone's like, oh, Eric, wow, and I'm like,
sorry.
So no, it's actually written in that they've come full circle. Basically, names, I guess, either got so fanciful or they lost so much history that they've now looped around to being like, oh, well, Eric and Anastasia are fantasy names. That's stupid. God. My name's Pain. And I'm like, girl.
I'm Thorn Briarbush.
and no, seriously. That's what... So, all the vampires are named like that. The humans are named by numbers. And then when you do get a character that's named normal, or people that are named normal, it's, actually normal-sounding names. You know what I mean? Uh-huh. So there was a purpose to this, actually. Yeah. So it's not... Because I thought the same thing, too. Where I'm like... Are you doing that thing where you're just picking English words? And it's like, no. Mm-hmm. She is assuming that these people do not know how to name folks anymore. Yeah. But yeah, so now one is going to have to meet Shell Overlord, which is both a great honor and a piss-your-pants kind of situation. The promise of a bonus is enough to override any hesitancy, and one agrees to meet this prestigious Bloodlord.
Okay, so he does get paid. There is some sort of payment.
Not in a way that matters. The bonus will likely be actual cash. Normally, he does not get paid. They get certain benefits for being bankers, but they do not exchange cash at all. So vampires have money, humans don't get money unless they do this.
I'm not buying this already at all. So, how do they live? Are they taken care of like cattle then? Like,
we'll get there.
Like, all right, because you're not giving me enough information, I have to judge it. I'm taking some holes away.
We will get to all those points. It's just not right now.
The holes are gone.
Okay.
You can gain them back. But you gotta convince me.
Yeah, we will get
right
there.
now I'm just sitting here like, no.
Well, I'm unraveling it as the story unravels it. You will get there along with me. We'll be there.
We'll see. Maybe I'd be more open to it if you hadn't triggered me at the beginning.
You're being so mean to me.
I am. Happy Halloween.
Bitch.
I'm a bitch. Shit.
So, one agrees to meet him, which is a choice he immediately regrets once he's sitting in the bank's VIP room.
Yeah, dude.
As he realizes one small slip-up in front of Shell Overlord could end his career.
Also, here's my issue. Why would anything entice him to do this? Because, like, you a slave. What money you got? What's the point of it? What's money gonna do for you? Can you buy things?
Yes.
I don't.
You're getting in your head. Relax.
No. This is how I function.
Relax. But so this could end his career if he slips up, or if he's super unlucky, his life. Before he can ruminate further on his misfortune, the door opens, revealing Shell in all his glory. One takes him in, surprised by his appearance. Considering Shell's reputation, he expected someone more menacing and less pleasant to look at. Oh, and significantly less pleasant to smell as well. Because the pheromones, obviously, they're called pheromones. You know, people can smell them. Like, that's where we're going with this.
So the vampires have their pheromones?
Yes, the vampires specifically have pheromones.
Is it something they actually create, or is it like a spray that they have?
It is something that they naturally have. And it sounds like they evolved to have it after the incident. So they didn't initially have pheromones back in the day, but they have evolved to have this. And so we're also not even sure if vampires evolved from humans and some of them branched off. That is muddled because it's been so long, no one's 100% sure. But they do know that the pheromones have been, like, gaining speed, essentially. And now you have people who have, like, a ton of pheromones and are, like, very good at wielding them, and other people who don't really have pheromones this level. Which is interesting, too, because this story was written right as ABO was starting to, like, reach hyper-popularity, but this was a separate situation.
Mm-hmm.
But they work kind of similarly. Not so much a sexy thing, but, like, they work, you know, to kind of pin people down. Like the alpha pheromones pinning people down, that sort of thing. That's what's going on here. One manages to stumble his way through the report, despite his nervousness and Shell's intense stare, but still ends up in the bathroom immediately after their meeting. Because he didn't piss his pants then, but now he's like, I definitely have to pee now. He splashes water on his face, helping himself to decompress, as he ponders the meeting, and more specifically, the weight of Shell's gaze. He essentially pisses those thoughts and further ones about Shell's smell away as he unzips and relieves himself in a urinal.
Does this smell bad? Did he like it?
He smells like flowers.
Oh, okay.
And so a lot of the pheromones apparently smell kind of like heavy and oppressive and kind of weird, but for some reason, Shell smells like flowers. One's pissing is disturbed by footsteps and the reappearance of Shell, who leans close to one, his green eyes intensely examining the still pissing human.
Oh, God.
One slowly
watching him piss?
One slowly backs away as Shell says something about pheromones not working on one. A quick jolt of shock and dread runs through one's body at those words, and he sputters out a denial, but in danger, he is not. Shell drops to his knees on the bathroom floor directly in front of one, gazing up at him with a focused expression. His face contorts into one of pure yearning and perversion as he, breathlessly, asks one to step on his legs.
That's better than I thought he was going to say, because since they are in a urinal, I was kind of expecting...
Piss on me?
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in between him being like, step on my legs, one dried that up real quick and walked away. One is shocked, to say the least, because a big, mighty, controlling vampire is begging to be stepped on, and who the fuck knows how to respond to that?
Yeah.
Also...
Like, especially in a world, like, again, I don't know anything, but my brain's like, do you even know what BDSM is? Like, you probably know what sex is. I'm not going to say it's that bad, but, like...
Yeah. Also, he is still worried about the whole pheromones not affecting him thing, so he tries to address both situations. One pretends he's overtaken by Shell's pheromones, sexually, and then flees the bathroom. So he puts on this whole like, oh no, your pheromones are so strong, I have to leave the bathroom.
Is that how they're supposed to feel around vampires?
No. So he didn't get it right there either. Like, he's trying his best.
Bro,
but he doesn't know. Well, he doesn't know how to do it. And so this is the creeping up on him while he's at the urinal.
Like a pink sparkle dust around him. God.
Yeah. And this is what he tries to be like, oh, your pheromones are too strong, I gotta go. And runs.
That little hug himself, he looks like a top trying to pretend to be a UK.
Truthfully.
It's very, very funny.
So this is chapter 1. And so this is why this story hit people weird. Because you're reading it and they're saying like, vampires, overlords, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, Daddy, will you step on me in the bathroom? And so then you're like... okay, it's not that serious.
Sorry. I'm built different. I probably would have been like, I don't know, bye. I probably wouldn't have continued. Like, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird at this point.
You know what I like about psychological stories? The ones where it's like, obviously going to fuck you up.
Mm-hmm.
This one is like a war story where you're like, will it fuck me up? Maybe.
We just talked about this before we started the pod.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up. Because it kind of fits the situation. Like,
yeah.
There's tons of war stories out there where like, oh, it's just cool. I would say in newer renditions, they are like, oh yeah, here's this sad thing. But it's not, you know, it has nothing on like old school war movies, old school angsty shits like
Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, like that's an older one. That one's covering some shit, you know? Like, that one's like, let's dance around at all the other problems. Like fucking Forrest Gump.
Mm-hmm.
Humorous, great, but it dances around all the problems of the war.
Mm-hmm.
Like, disabled people being drafted, racism in the army, expectations left on you by your forefathers. And I would say modern war stuff is like, action, look at the bombs, look at the HD stuff, you can see the dirt in the pores. Oh, we're gonna kind of mention that this guy has the shakes. And it's like, you know? So, like, I would say that if you go to older school war shows, like Three Kings, like Private Ryan, like anything like that, yeah, that you could maybe be like, those are a bit psychological horror. Like I would say Three Kings has quite a bit of psychological horror in it. Compared to new stuff out there that it just kind of feels like a DC Marvel movie and you don't feel like you have any emotions hitting you at all. So, like, I probably would have been like, nah. I'm gonna let you update and then skim.
I mean, I did read this one was almost complete.
Yeah. That's good.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Because otherwise...
Could you imagine waiting for this to update? Because I just feel like if you are going into this just horny... every week, and then the bomb drops and you're like,
where are my children?
Tinnitus is going on, your ears are ringing, the smoke is in your face, you look at one guy pick up his arm, clutch it to his chest and walk away, and you're trying to find your legs. Like,
pretty much. As I was rereading this, I was reading people's comments on it, and you could see the moment where people were like, wait, what?
Yeah.
It was really funny. Yeah, so one pretends that he's inundated with pheromones and runs away, which is not an amazing plan considering what pheromones can actually do.
I'm so scared.
They are a combination psychic and psychological phenomena that all vampires are equipped with, allowing them to control humans. A command made under the influence of pheromones cannot be resisted. So while one continues to panic over his big secret being revealed, it's like, bro, you played yourself. You made it even more obvious you're resistant to pheromones. It is still unbelievable that someone finally clocked him after all these years, but Shell was strange from the beginning. He looks intimidating, but his smell is not unlike flowers. One throws himself into his work over the next few days, primarily out of nervousness, but fortunately, Shell doesn't make another appearance. His absence does nothing to take one's mind off of him, though. There's just something about that vampire. But then also, he did ask you to step on him in the bathroom.
I kind of wish they'd gone full on, please piss in my face. Like,
I don't think
I just think it'd be so funny.
Manhwas were not brave enough yet.
Right.
Manhwa, in 2025, she would have written, piss on my face. Guaranteed.
It would have been so...
They were not strong enough yet. The closing bell rings out, signaling the end of the workday, snapping one from his ponderings. He calls out to his deskmate, 9, but his colleague seems out of it and doesn't respond. You see, 9 is extremely susceptible to pheromones, to the point that their effects can linger long after their owner has left. So 9 is just kind of dazedly moving around, doesn't look fully keyed in. He is just very weak to pheromones. Everyone else is pretty weak to them, but, like, he basically would fall on the ground. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. 1 is worried, but plans to check back in with his friend after they finish their closing duties. Like any normal bank, they have to balance the books and make sure all blood is accounted for before leaving for the night. 1, who is normally perfection personified, is horrified to find 50 liters missing from their stock. He's positive he didn't make a mistake, and that the missing blood must be in the building, or the result of a clerical error, or something. Whatever it is, he needs to keep quiet about it until he can resolve things. Which means it's the perfect time for 13 to notice 1's hesitation and snitch on him. 13 swipes 1's clipboard out of his hands, confirms that there's blood missing, and immediately runs off to tattle to the branch manager about what happened. 1's heart... Yeah, what?
Eat him. Eat this guy.
Just eat 13!
Yeah, fuck him.
1's heart beats loudly, his expression a mix of resignation and fear as his boss approaches. When asked if the blood really is missing, 1 tells the truth, yes, but tries to assure his boss that with just a bit of time, the situation could be resolved. But no dice. The branch manager reaches forward and removes the golden gear from 1's neck, and then formally dismisses him not only from his job, but from the farm where he lives, essentially exiling 1 from society.
Okay.
Excuse me. And so that's what I didn't explain very well either, is that, like, all the bankers that we see have little gears on their necks. Which just seems like a fashion choice, because, again, everything in here, very steampunky, very kind of costumed. But yeah, so 1 is like, well, shit, I guess I'm gone forever, and he's, for very good reasons, worried about how this is going to play out.
Is like, can you tell me if living on the farm is going to be... Is living on the farm better than...
Yes.
Do we know this?
You figure out the best around, like, chapter 6.
But we get this sense, like, we are getting the sense, him being let go and losing being at the farm's real bad.
Yeah, being let go of the farm, a lot of people don't know what that means. The people who do know what it means are like, I don't want to go. And so we get at this point that it seems like 1 knows what that means, and he is extra frightened of it happening to him.
Of being removed from the farm.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
1 is overcome with desperation as he tries to reason with his now ex-boss, but to no avail, as a freaky-looking security guard prepares to forcibly remove him. But then, the voice of Shell Overlord calls out, asking what the heck is going on.
What the heck is going on here?
Thank you.
Sorry.
That's why I put it in there. Shell's appearance does nothing to soothe 1's worries, because now he thinks he's going to get exiled and murderated, tortured, thrown into a pack of feral vampires. You know, bad shit. However, rather than immediately obliterating 1, Shell calls for all the bankers to be gathered. The branch manager is, like, not stoked about this, but Shell's like, did I stutter, bitch?
No.
I said what I said. Get all them bitches out here.
I mean, he's your boss.
Exactly. Soon, every banker is indeed lined up, 2 by 2, but in the place of a French nun, there's only Shell. He lets
What? Why would there be a French nun?
Because they're lined up 2 by 2, like a Madeline.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch that one.
I love Madeline.
I do love Madeline, but I did not catch that one.
Merci beaucoup. He lets loose a strong wave of pheromones, forcing it upon all the bankers. The flower-like scent 1 had smelt before has become heavy and oppressive, enough to make his coworkers shake and cower. The scent of an apex predator.
Flowers. I'm doomed. Sorry.
Okay, have you walked into the Dillards and ever had a really bad perfume dumped on you that, like, normally you like the scent, but then it's too much?
I am giving you a hard time, but yes. I worked in the jewelry department, which meant I had to work in the...
Then you know.
Yeah.
If something... This is like something broke open on you, I'm having an asthma attack and I want to go home if this happens.
Okay, but cool seeing the pheromones at work. 1, start pissing, I guess. Start faking it.
Yeah, he's not going to.
Oh no, the hormones.
Shell examines the bankers, pausing to sniff each one for some sort of clue. He eventually approaches 9, who looks more petrified than the rest, locking his impressive gaze on the poor banker. Shell grabs 9's shoulders and inhales deeply from him.
Nope, don't like that, though. I don't like it because they're food.
Yeah.
So it's just not fun.
Then leans in until his fanged mouth is but a breath from 9's ear and gently demands to be told everything. An explanation comes tumbling out of 9's mouth, detailing how a vampire took advantage of his weakness to pheromones and ordered him to take the blood. Poor 9 is one step away from spiraling as he tries to defend himself when Shell places a calming hand on his shoulder and tells him, enough. Shell announces that the culprit has been found and expects everything to be settled from here on out. Which would totally involve ejecting 9 from being a banker, but Shell stops the guards from manhandling the young man, citing it would be a waste of resources to do so. And really, the bank should focus more on protecting its bankers from situations like this.
Yeah.
So he puts on
I agree.
He puts on the big boy like, it would be a waste of resources. You can already tell it's like, no, it's because it's be stupid. Somebody broke the rules on your banker. He's not going to get kicked out of here. No, I run this bank now. We're keeping him. You should protect them.
Look, eat people, but be smart about how you do it.
And that's like, so he uses the like, let's be smart about eating people as the excuse. But really, it's like, no, you're just not a fucking asshole.
Yeah, let's not go that far. Like, I'm not going to go that far.
Sure.
Because, like, here it is. Like, just because someone's willing to respect you doesn't mean that they're not an asshole. Because if you're respecting me, but still letting me be oppressed, you're an asshole.
But yeah, this is what we've got. Like, obviously he was big spooky for a second.
Yeah. Is he tall or short? Because he had a short energy?
Shell's not that tall.
Okay, he looks taller than everyone he's come up against, but he also looks really short.
It's the pheromones. So people, like, basically
so
crouch.
Bending.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he's not really that tall.
Helps, because he's, like, his body structures are small.
He also has heeled boots.
Mm-hmm.
Like decent, like gold heeled boots or whatever.
Yeah, no, I just needed to know if people were shrinking in.
So he's
he's got twink energy, you know?
Yeah,
I'm a little twink. Fuck my little ass until it makes the fat noises, you know?
Yeah, he's not that tall compared to some other people. I think he's pretty average, actually. And then we'll get to this in a second.
Daddy wants to be praised. That's what that look was. Spoilers, Daddy wants to be praised.
One is gobsmacked at how this whole situation unfolded, but not so much that he doesn't accept the return of his gear from his boss. And his boss is like, well, you're pretty lucky. And I'm like,
you are lucky.
He is, but also you're a fucking psychopath. Still, appropriately bewildered, he glances over at Shell. The vampire returns his gaze, giving him an excitedly toothy smile, evoking a similar feeling to a dog asking for praise.
Yeah.
Just the biggest grin,
like, much, I'm a good boy, please tell me I'm good.
Look what I did, I'm so special.
Gosh.
Thankfully, work is finally over, only a little bit passed on, and one can make his way back to his little hovel on his weird little motorbike. And so, of course, like, because vampires are out here, the blood bank operates from dusk till dawn, which makes sense, and then, so all the bankers are on, like, a different schedule from the other humans kind of thing. They're working at night, the other humans are doing stuff during the day. Whatever. Not super important to most of the plot, but it does come up, and I'm giving you whatever information I can. Shell stops him just outside the bank in the deserted quiet of the dawn, remarking that one got pretty lucky back there. One replies that it was most definitely thanks to Shell's influence, but the vampire waves it off. He could smell the wayward vamp from the moment he entered the bank and was curious what the hell and fuck he was doing there. So it's the same dude that had the, like, plague mask on, came around and was like, I'm gonna steal some blood kind of thing. And so Shell's like, well, yeah, I had to investigate. But it's very much like, well, I had to take a look. It wasn't because
I like you or anything.
It wasn't because I was trying to be nice. Because I will say he does have to act this way a little bit, and it does get into more that he is putting on a certain level of airs, but it's for safety reasons, and we'll address that a little bit more later.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Shell's putting on all these airs about, like, I'm a big man. It's a little bit for safety. It's not just, like, it's not tsundere. It really is, like, I kind of need to do this for my own reasons kind of thing. And a little bit, it's also, the old English way of, like, I'm a man of the house. I have to be the strong one. I have to do that. So it's kind of that blended in with some other stuff that's going on as well. So Shell's just like, well, it wasn't that big of a deal. And to be absolutely honest, Shell explains as he rapidly closes the distance between himself and one.
Oh, God.
It was a great way for Shell to test one's reaction to pheromones, of which there was none. Big smile.
Of which there was none. Alright, I will say, I don't know how I feel about the rest of the story, but I am kind of liking Shell.
Shell's so charming. He's just an eager little guy.
He's very interesting,
He's just a little guy. One, of course, tries to deny his lack of response, but Shell leans in, grabs one's hand, and places it against his own cheek. Again, his face melts into a look of anticipation and lust. A look of gooning, if you will.
A look of gooning.
As he requests one to maybe slap him a little bit.
Jesus Christ. I want to know, do we ever get the vibes as to why he's so BDSM? Like, does he ever explain, like...
We're going to explain that.
Okay, cool. Because I want to know if we get an explanation for it. Because I'm of two minds. If we get an explanation, thank God. But if we don't, also funny.
So we get an explanation, and then it's funny because the first time I read this, I was just mind blown having like a time. On this reread, as I'm going through it, I was like, wait, was the answer this simple all along? So there's technically two answers for it, and I will definitely tell you off pod what the other answer is. But there's two answers, and one I'm going to answer for you. But yeah, this is his little precious face being like...
No, I like it when he gets like... What is that face? It's all... What is it? Is it ahegao?
Ahegao?
Is it almost like that?
No. Ahegao is like the eyes rolled up, mouth open.
No, that's not it. It's like...
His face is very horny, though.
Yeah.
Horny and blushy.
Yeah, and like it's really funny when certain characters kind of do that. Like, a very subtle one would be Nightfall in Spy Family.
Or Mao Mao's face when she is finding out about poisons that she can go
Yeah,
get.
it's just when someone who's kind of blank-faced suddenly goes very enthusiastic about something and you're like, Jesus Christ,
calm it down. Turn it down. One levels him a deadpan look, removes his hand, and putters off on his bike, hoping to wash himself of this whole ridiculous scenario. Which is not at all how any of this works, because one... Shell only increases his visits to the bank after the incident and seems to always be close to wherever one is. And two, one defo ends up having some nasty little sex dreams about doming the shit out of Shell and being called master several days later.
Alright. Lol, for one. Two, I was wondering if the rejection from one just makes this Shell guy hornier. Because BDSM.
You know? Probably.
So Shell's kind of...
You know, yeah. Actually, I had that thought later that a lot of his rejections and being kind of mean to him, I think just made him hornier. And he doesn't know how to process it. After said dreams, one awakes with a start, then sits up and grabs his glasses from the bedside table, muttering about how strange of a dream that was. A voice next to the bed asks, "What happened?" One lives alone.
No. No, 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 no.
Behold Shell, crouching innocently next to one's bed, beaming up at him and looking charming as fuck for someone who's broken in.
Get the hell and fuck out of my house.
Shell has become a right little stalker in the last week or so, and this seems to be the major tipping point. He explores one's home, hovel, whatever, fascinated by how different humans live.
He has no choice but to... I want to swear at him. What is a... I'm trying to think of how to do a slur at a vampire.
Bloodsucker.
That's so funny, though. I want it to hurt a little. Syringe.
That's pretty good.
You fucking syringe.
That's
Sorry.
pretty good. That's pretty good. One quickly loses his patience for small talk and demands that Shell just make it clear what he wants from the human.
You know, to be fair, I don't know if you ever heard him out. You should have asked more questions before running away.
I think so too. But again, one was always freaked out about the pheromone thing. Like, if somebody knows it's going to cause me problems.
Very
so he's
fair.
So focused on that he's not stopping to ask questions. But I think on the third time I'd ask questions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The third time he's like, "Please, Daddy," I would ask some questions.
I think, like, before I got on my weird little motorbike to go back to the farm, I would have asked some questions. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So, one asks, like, hey, what's going on? Well, his bad attitude is what Shell's interested in. One has a bad attitude towards a bloodlord, someone who's only ever looked upon with reverence, fear, jealousy, etc., and that's honestly what's drawing Shell in. He's just being a little asshole.
That doesn't surprise me either.
So Shell takes a hold of one's hands, desperately clutching them as he explains that one is different. He's special, and he's the only human who can stand up to him, is what he was probably going to say. But one's mind decides to be a horny jerk and fills in, only person who can do whatever you want to me. So in a pure moment of can't catch me gay thoughts, one slaps Shell's hands and turns away from him. So his brain's trying to focus in on, like, what does he want? Do what you want to me. Do whatever you feel like.
Bro.
Yeah. One then gives us some juicy vampire lore that may explain why Shell's so goddamn horny to be slapped around. Amongst the vampiric elite, there are some vamps born with abnormalities. Specifically, though they are born to rule and crush humans under their heels, they instead crave submission. Not just from other vampires, but some special little guys, the worst kind, by society standards, want to be dominated by humans. So, Shell is an abnormal vampire.
So it's like he's a little succubus.
Yeah. Instead of being like an incubus, he's a succubus. Like in a world full of incubi, he is a succubi instead.
Does that ever get talked about, like, his weird little cravings? Like...
Yes, because we're going to meet somebody else that does it. Like, my summary ends before we get to meet him, but I'm going to talk about him anyways because he's very poignant to the plot and it helps establish that there are more vampires like this. But it is discussed and that the different levels of it are discussed as well.
So it's like a real thing.
It is, it's a real thing that they just pop out and they're just not, like, crazy aggressive. So it's almost like their genetics are slowly making it so that vampires are popping out and they're just not always aggressive.
Okay.
Yeah, so, because the pheromones are also genetic things. So we were talking a lot about, like...
So it's like vampires are evolving.
Yes. They evolved initially to get pheromones, and now it's like they're evolving to where some of them are like, I don't know, whip me a little? Which, like, in the grand scheme of them being so overpowered, it makes sense that you might eventually tip it back over or whatever. But,
yeah, especially, like, if food's running out. Like, I would imagine it's like, okay, now I gotta adapt to this. Like a giraffe's neck getting longer so it can get tree leaves, or like clownfish who switch their gender when they're like, shit, we need more females. Exactly.
So there's something going on. But one says all this and is calling out Shell like, you're an abnormal and blah, 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 and that's what's going on. Shell says nothing as one reads him for filth. One also calls him disgusting, like, oh, you're disgusting because you're abnormal. But it's horny-inducing for Shell, and it's absolutely fronting for one, because one won't face him the whole time that he's saying this either. He's looking away from him, because it's like, yeah, behind you is Shell being like, oh, don't insult me. Or maybe...
Maybe do.
Yeah.
God.
But one could easily leak this info to other vampires, which could ruin Shell's reputation. That, plus the fact that harming a vampire is a killable offense, having any sort of relationship would be a terrible idea for both of them. One is trying so hard to emphasize this, but Shell remains determined.
Sorry. My brain is like, one is trying really hard to be like, we can't do this, and then, like, meanwhile, like, teasing the shit out of his nipple. Because, like, the last thing you showed me is his weird dream, you know? Like, of him being, like, doming Shell.
Yeah.
So, in my brain, I have one, like, just being like, no, we can't do this. We really shouldn't. Hump, hump, hump.
That's why he's facing away from him.
Because he's thinking of it.
Yeah. Like, straight up, he's facing away to protect himself as well. So, one's trying to be like, hey, let's not do this. I'm not going to face him, I'm not going to look at you. And then Shell's like, well, what if I commanded you to do terrible, nasty things to my body? He asks, looking the opposite of commanding, with his face turned down and a blush dancing along his cheeks. One whips around, finally facing the vampire again, and calls him pitiful. Because if Shell's really an abnormal, he shouldn't be commanding anyone to do anything. He should conduct himself properly, get on his knees, and beg for it.
Oh! One, you changed your tune real fast.
Normally you can kind of hear the snap of someone giving into their horny urges, But this was more like a boulder rolling downhill and picking up speed.
Yeah, this is like when you hear a tree branch break and you're like, ooh.
Mm-hmm. So Shell, trembling in flesh, slowly sinks down to the floor and kneels in front of one, looking up at him in anticipation.
What made him snap? Was it just he didn't want to be commanded that badly?
No, it's the moment that Shell's like, well, what if you command me a little? In his trembling little, voice. But then one was just something about it made him be like, oh shit, oh fuck, I've been holding my shit together. I woke up from this horny ass dream. You're in my house. I am trying my best. Because the one thing I will say is they are finding out that they're attracted to each other in slow motion. I don't think either of them figure out that they're attracted to each other until halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't come up. They don't think about it. And then they're just suddenly like, oh my god. Do I like you? And I'm like, holy shit. Holy fuck. And you get why.
Hopefully there's at least physical attraction if you want someone to dom you.
No, yeah. It's complicated. It's very complicated. One proceeds to fist a hand into Shell's hair, which the vampire likes very much, and then berates him verbally. Asking if he likes kneeling in dirty places, because the whole bathroom thing, if he recognizes how embarrassing it is for him to desire domination for what is essentially livestock, and calling him a pervert that's worse than a pig. All while kind of manhandling him. He's weirdly gentle about it, actually. He just kind of, maneuvers him around. It's not, throwing and slapping and hitting. He just kind of, moves his body around, kind of, until they're both on the floor. But there is a point where, Shell instinctively tried to use his pheromones, and he freaks out about it for a second. One, instead of trying to push harder, actually pauses, still has a hand in his hair, but doesn't keep manhandling him, because he's like, wait a second, are you, freaking out?
No?
Yeah, because they don't...
Yeah.
They have that established consent, like you would in BDSM, but even one still is like, hold on a second.
No, that makes sense. They don't really know what they're doing. Again...
It's babies first.
Yeah, I'm seeing the animal farm people farms.
Yeah.
Audience, chat, whatever you want to call yourselves. It don't look good. It looks really bad. It is dirt with shack houses. Hovels. So, there's no way. This guy has no internet. Mm-hmm. Not that he can use outside of work. Mm-hmm. He has no idea what
they
BDSM
really don't
is.
have. They don't have that type of technology. They were fully steampunk. They don't have computers and shit. Yeah.
He is using his imagination here. He has no idea what the fuck.
Yeah.
So, this is one of those comics that I would give a lot of grace to. Mm-hmm. If you're expecting everyone to do BDSM perfectly, not for you. They don't have the technology or the history for that.
I get into this more later, but this is the one where if you're expecting perfect BDSM, you cannot expect that for this. You have to expect that they're going to fuck it up. Yeah. But I digress. We'll keep going. So, all of this talk, this upset Shell enough to cry, because being called less than a pig is certainly not nice, and it's probably the worst thing that's ever been said to him. Nevertheless, one pauses in his onslaught and points out that despite the emotional turmoil, Shell is definitely turned on. Hard as hell.
Why are you being so mean to me? You like it.
Were you horny? Yeah. It takes Shell a minute to fully absorb the reality of the situation, and then you can literally see his transformation into a sub.
God. Daddy, I like it.
No, let me show you real quick, because then let me go through this real quick. So, what if I command you? This is the face he's saying, what if I command you?
He looks, I don't think of it as cute or ooh-woo. He just looks kind of scared of what even he's suggesting. Mm-hmm. And he still looks scared here. Mm-hmm. When the guy turns around and is like, beg for it. So, I don't know. I'm just not getting horny from it. I'm getting already... Oh, this is going to be fucked up. Mm-hmm. I feel bad for everyone who would end being like, it's going to be so fun. And I'm sitting here going, it's going to be fucked up.
Mm-hmm. But this is him hearing, blah, blah, blah. And then he's just like, hey, let's pause. Hand out a hair. You were turned off. Mm-hmm. And then this is the face that he makes afterwards. This is his, oh, I guess this is it.
I'm more concerned with one's face. One of, guess I'm daddy now. That is the face of, I guess I'm gonna be a killer.
So, Shell, full on turns into a sub, and then one's dick enters the chat.
Yeah, it sure did.
Homeboy tries to, again, put distance between them, going on about how, even if Shell's committed to getting hitted, that there's nothing in it for him. A human that has all his needs covered by the vampire masters, his hovel, his rations, his job, what else is he gonna get out of this, right? But Shell's a fast learner and is figuring out begging, so he crawls over and grabs one's shirt, looking up at him pleadingly. "Well, what do you want?" Shell asks slowly, desperately. Now would be the time to ask for something material or socially elevating, because humans are essentially livestock that never get nice things. But being horny does things to your brain, so one instead demands that Shell become his slave and listen to every command he gives. A complete reversal of human-vampire relations. So he's like, yeah, call me master. Well, good.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want.
But, like, smart to ask for that, because, again, seeing where he lives, his work uniform was superb. Like, it was an amazing set of clothing. This guy is in trash. He's in trash. Like, it is, like, straight out of peasantry novels kind of stuff. Like,
yes. So you're understanding now why, like, these humans are like, oh, I get to become a banker? Because you get just other stuff to do. So the benefit is not the payment. The benefit is like, oh, I get to be somewhere nice. I get to have nice things on the clock. I get to eat a different type of lunch instead of what we get outside.
So all I can think about is it's just like, I don't see the point of asking for a bonus or for anything. I am one of those motherfuckers who will tell you, hey, do overtime if you really need it, but clock out on time. Come to work on time, clock out on time. Do everything you need to do. Work hard. Do it right. But hey, do not stay a minute fucking longer.
Get the fuck out of there.
When your job is done, your job is done. Do not stay for overtime unless you have to, unless you want to, because you need a bonus.
You better be getting paid for it.
You better be getting time and
If you work salary, get the fuck out. Just go at 5.
I strongly believe you do your job while you're there.
And then go.
So, like, again, in this bad apocalyptic dystopian world, I'm like, what point is a bonus? What point is a money? Bonus better be, like, you get a steak dinner. Mm-hmm. Like, there's nothing you can offer this dude. So, like, for him being like, yeah, you're going to be my slave, that's the only thing that makes sense in this, honestly. Mm-hmm. Well, if this guy gives him anything, the jig would be up immediately. Mm-hmm. Like, if he's like, I want a comforter for my shitty bed, because his bed's shitty, that would probably get him busted, you know?
We will get into the more specifics of that and how it may not get him busted, but how it can still be a bad situation, because we're going to get into that in a hot minute, actually.
Just from what I'm seeing, looks atrocious, fam. Like, you better just ask for something that, like, no one's going to notice, no one's going to see.
Yeah, we're going to get into that in a hot second, actually. So, Shell, still trembling, begins to stutter out an answer, which is yes, by the way, but is interrupted by an alarm. Nothing dangerous, just the alarm that signals it's time for good little human piggies to go to work, so one promptly kicks Shell out, gets dressed, and speeds off to work on his bike. After 8+ hours away from Shell, one has recomposed himself, and is aware of how irrational it would be to get in any sort of relationship with a vampire, especially a master-slave scenario. What a dumb, stupid little thought.
He's backing out.
One's thought is interrupted by Shell, calling out to him, yet again. And he's like, you're back. Hey.
Did you stay at his house?
No, he left and came back, because he had to go get something. One rips around, prepared to berate the vampire again. Which wouldn't work anyway, if you think about it, because,
it's like, oh, that's what he wants you
to
do.
Yeah. But freezes when he beholds a brand new state-of-the-art steam bike. A bike he'd been eyeing for God knows how long, glistening in the growing light of the dawn. And so says Shell, it now belongs to one, and he'll buy one whatever he wants at any time.
Ah, there we go.
All of one's objections and rationality crumble under the weight of his greed.
Get you a thing you can beat, and they pay you for it?
Yeah. Looks like BDSM is on the menu, boys. Mm-hmm. And so it does get addressed a little bit later that one's boss is suspicious that he has a new bike because he uses it. He does use it and takes it to work.
Yeah, I bet.
His old bike is also falling apart because it's like, it's bank issued. And so he has this new bike, and then his boss is like, you've been awfully close to Shell lately. And so people do figure it out, but also his boss can't do anything about it. Because of vampire hierarchy, Shell is above the boss. Mm-hmm. Like, the boss is running the bank because he's at a lower, level societally. And so he can't say shit about it. If a vampire wants to pick up a human and make, buy him stuff, you don't say shit about it. That's not your fucking business. if a vampire's over you, societally, they get to do whatever the fuck they want with that human. So it might cause problems for one. In fact, it does cause problems for one. But no one is you can be jealous all you want, you can be mean mugging about it, but there's nothing you can do about it. If they want to do that, that's their choice. So the next couple of chapters deliver exactly BDSM, but also drop some important lore, which is why we have to cover them. And I actually have these chapters up to just look at the whole of the chapters, because we just have to... There's enough stuff in there that I want to show you, and like, this is the little bit of porn I'm going to show you as well, but there's the bike real quick, which is...
The bike is very cool.
Beautiful.
But also very, like, what the fuck are you going to do about it? I do like that it says specifically in the comic that he's been hit by the greed hammer. That is funny.
Yeah, it is really funny. So, Shell requests one's presence at his estate for work-related reasons, allowing one to leave the bank in the middle of the night. He is led to Shell's office by another, lesser vampire, who would most certainly still eat him, given the opportunity, and is quite taken by the opulence of vampire living. So they've like gilded gold shit all over the place. Like, it's obviously...
Yeah, again, they live in shit
Yeah,
hovels.
he lives in a hovel, and Shell lives in, like, you know, a nice Victorian apartment, when an apartment actually means, like, 3 stories. You know what I mean?
You know, there is a story similar to this, where, like, basically cat people own human people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very interesting, because it is about the cat people after years of owning people, trying to walk it back and being like, we should let them go since they are sentient.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, basically, it has a bunch of mass suicides of people. Because, like, they're like, we're going to let you go, and we're going to stop doing these things to you, and we're going to just try to become your actual friends and try to be better. So the first person who's like, yeah, I'm going to do that, frees them, and the first thing the human does is kill themselves.
We're going to kind of address that scenario a little bit, too.
Like, it feels like it's headed that way.
No, it's headed somewhere different, but I'll explain.
Yeah.
Once inside the office, alone with Shell, all pretense of work falls away as Shell legit glomps one. Like, year of our Lord 2K15, and we got vampires glomping bitches? For real? Shell 100% brought one to his home just because he missed him and didn't want to anger him by showing up at his job. One, angry anyway, and a wee bit confused, turns to leave, but Shell drags him back, pleading, promising to show him something interesting. So I will say, this chapter started out, like, a little bit differently, because it showed you this first. Like, I'll give you the feeling of being trapped in the darkness, and this is kind of like a horny pose, and then it goes into this, which is the glomp, like, oh, I missed you, blah, 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 I snuck you into the office. And this is him being, confused, like, he just missed me? And I'm like, can y'all figure the fuck out what affection means, you fucking weirdos?
No, it's very interesting, because I'm like, yeah, like...
It's just affection.
It's just, I find it very fascinating that, like, one doesn't know what's going on. Makes total sense to me why he doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Just, I find it full-blown, this is interesting.
And then this is Shell begging once again, like, please, come on, I'm gonna show you something. This could be so good. I promise.
Please, master.
Please, just do it. So, the interesting thing Shell wants to show him is the playroom hidden beneath Shell's office. It is totally a red room. Like, come on. Like, they call it a playroom, it's a red room, it's not a big deal. Toys, restraints, and paint implements line the red-colored wall, and a large ornate bed sits in the center of the room. Shell prowls on about how these rooms are typical amongst the vampire elite, and he wanted to show one something he'd never seen before. Because, like, the only way humans see it is if they're being played with. So, he's like, you've never seen one of these before. This will be cool. Purely innocent motivation. It literally is, I bet you've never been here before. You showed me your home. I want to show you my home.
I find this uncomfortable.
That's fair. It's supposed to be. And this is again my point. I read this and I was like, wait a fucking minute. As I'm looking at other people's comments, they missed that. They skipped all the way over it.
Y'all aren't from the streets like me.
No, they haven't been in these yaoi streets as long as I have. Damn. So, innocent motivation. Not that one believes that. While Shell continues to explain himself, one sneaks up behind him and places a leather blindfold over Shell's eyes and forcefully pins him back against his body. He then slowly maneuvers Shell towards the bed, turning on the Dom talk and emphasizing how strange it must be to be plunged into darkness as a vampire. Because, you know, they have
the vampire.
they have they have enhanced sight and stuff like that. They're normally walking around in the dark and they're totally fine. And he kind of has to convince Shell that they're playing, because Shell's like, well, no, I can just take the blindfold off. And one's like, no, you're in darkness, buddy.
We're playing.
Like, remember, you can't take it off. It's defo working on Shell, but one's pretty bad at this, because he randomly brings up the last time he saw a blind vampire. And I was like, yeah, I once saw a blind vampire in the slums and blah, blah, blah. And so Shell pauses and is like, you really saw a blind vampire? In the slums? Have you been to the slums? And then one's like, I push you into the bed and I hold you down because, hey, we're doming. And it's like, girl, I need you to work in your dom talk. You can't bring up random anecdotes from your life and just expect your partner to be like, oh yeah, that's so sexy. Like, oh yes,
Did
please
he
tell
really
me
see a blind vampire, or was he talking about something else?
He really has seen a blind vampire, and so he drops some of his personal lore.
Oh, okay.
And then you're kind of questioning, it's like, well, wait, so a blind vampire is not a part of vampire societies, or are they no longer protected by blah, blah, blah? And so you start having these questions, and then the artist is like, hey, so what if we get really hot and horny right now?
Like, before you start thinking too much, here's a penis.
It's truthfully. So, regardless, one manages to get Shell's riding coat off, shirt open, cravat undone, leaving him looking like a wonton mess. He pushes Shell into the bed, face down, ass up, as retaliation...
That's the way I like to fuck.
He does it as a retaliation for asking too many questions, like, you've been to the slums? Which is... You brought it up, bitch. It's on you. And then he forces him to apologize to his master, while said master jorks his peanuts.
What?
Jorks his peanuts. Well, Shell very clearly enjoys himself, and is adapting well to being a sub. So much so that when one holds out his jizz-covered, gloved hand, Shell doesn't hesitate to look it clean. There's just one thought still nagging him. Did one really mean all that stuff he said? Does he really hate doing this? Does he think he's a bad little vampire? And one answers that there's no reason he'd actually be angry at Shell, which puts the vampire at ease enough that he falls asleep, leaving one to sit with the realization that he is very quickly becoming smitten with a goddamn vampire elite.
Oops.
He gazes at him and is very soft, and then he has this little blush of oh, he's very sweet, he's very cute, and it's girl, you could have kept saying no, and not done it in a horny way. You could have just said, no, I'm not interested, thank you. But you had to immediately escalate every time.
Mm-hmm.
But what other craziness lies in store for our intrepidly horny pair? And why the fuck is it not at all what you'd expect? So, we'll pause the summary here, but I do need to clarify a couple things. First of all, I didn't include the BDSM scene just for porn's sake. There really is important world-building information sprinkled throughout, and some hints about one's origins, like I was saying, and that sort of shit happens throughout the rest of the manhwa, so you gotta lock in even when the sex is wildin'. There's stuff in there. You need to pay attention. Read through the porn, get your rocks off, and then go back and skim it again and pay attention to what they're saying. Because this happens a handful of times. And then 2, the next chapter kind of explains more about the abnormals thing, because there is another character that we get introduced to. So as things kind of move forward, one and Shell are now kind of in a routine of seeing each other, where one comes by at Shell's request, or after a while, one's boss is like, well, we gotta deliver shit over to his house anyway, so why don't you go? Because he seems to like you so much. And so he starts getting sent as a gopher anyway. And one ends up meeting another vampire who is also an abnormal. And that abnormal is smitten with Shell and asked to marry him and shit. And through Shell rejecting him, was no, I don't want to marry you. And they have this whole little moment of Shell being one, it's not what it looks like, I'm not going to marry him. And it's why are you trying to prove to one that you're not going to marry? Yeah, they're already doing the whole thing. But he has to explain it to one then that it's well, he's a fellow abnormal, and when we were kids, he got outed as an abnormal because he couldn't hide it, because he is weak to other vampires' pheromones.
Oh, that sucks.
And so we then start to establish that even though he is a purebred, this other guy's a purebred vampire, he's weak to other vampires' pheromones. And so it was immediately clocked. And so when everyone else was oh, we don't want to deal with him, he's a lesser vampire, blah, 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 Shell was the one that defended him. And, like, they were little kids, and he defended him and, like, befriended him, was okay with him. And so this guy is, like, smitten with him. And Shell makes this decision where he's like, but that's not who I am. That is literally a shell that I portray to people of being, you know, strong and put together. But I've known I'm abnormal the whole time. I honestly feel like a little weakling because my friend over here is now living proudly as an abnormal and isn't afraid of people and has, like, tried to elevate his life in his own way through, like, his own hard work and stuff like that. And so I'm proud of him, but I need him to stop hinging his thoughts on me because he's the one who's taking control of his life. Mm-hmm. I'm sitting here pretending.
Right.
To, like, look good, and I want him to know. And so there's this very nice moment. Well, it's a horny moment, but ends up being a nice moment where he shows his friend, like, this is what I'm into. I want to be stepped on.
Oh, does he get fucked in front of his friend?
No, he just shows him. It's like he puts himself in his own, like, bondage gear, and it's like, this is what I want to happen to me. I'm a mess. I'm horny for blah blah blah. And it's like, I just couldn't lie to you anymore because you respect me so much, but you're the one that's deserving of respect. And his friend, like, actually goes away to, like, ruminate on it, but he comes around to, he's like, yeah, but I still respect you a lot because you're still a strong person. But, like, thank you, you're my dearest friend. And so, like, he still is kind of a little bit smitten with him, but it's become more of a respect boner kind of thing and less of a, like, romantic boner, I'm idealizing sort of thing. And so it's a nice moment of understanding that there are more abnormals and that they should kind of stick together and that they have this, like, blooming respect for each other, will, you know, take care of each other and that sort of thing. But that's kind of where we start to know that there are more and more vampires even being born amongst the upper echelon, where they're coming out strange. They're coming out with problems. And it's not just because they're inbreeding, though that may be part of it, because they are kind of mimicking, like,
British, like...
They're mimicking European society, old European society of, like
old school, like, because I'm, like, a lot of steampunk stuff will circle back to Victorian issues.
Yeah, and even in, like, Shell's case, Shell doesn't live with his mom because his mom and dad got married on purpose, and so he has siblings, but he doesn't see them, and his mom doesn't care about him, and his dad, he just lived with his dad, like, his whole life and stuff like that. And so there's these other levels where you're understanding, it's like they've adopted Royal European society and turned it up turbo. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then added pheromones on top of it. And then added, you know, drinking blood on top of it. And so there's a lot of, like, overarching stuff going on like that. So, okay, so, God Abnormals. That's the only thing I couldn't, like, do, like, a really, really good summary on, but I just wanted to mention that. So, let's get into the characters, and I'll explain, if you have any questions as we're going through the characters that I have not covered at that point, please ask me, and I will give you what I can, and then as I get into the wrap-up as well, I'm going to allude to some more other things that are going to kind of tie this up a little bit more. Mm-hmm. One is our main character, technically. I guess, you know, most of the time. Most of the time he's the main character. He's a banker and a brand new dom. He's excellent at his job and completes every task with laser focus. He seems content with his life despite it being tenuous at best, but he seems to be holding fast to whatever this life represents as tight as he fucking can.
Like, if I just don't look at all the problems, I'll be okay.
Yeah, like, I need to be here. This is what I'm desperate to do for some reason. Mm-hmm. As placid as he seems, he's got a lot of big feelings and trauma chilling beneath the surface. He has a strong sense of righteousness that leads him to stand up for the little guy and strive for fairness. And he knows way too much about vampire shit. He gets blindsided by Horny and is smitten with Shell faster than necessary. Shell Overlord is our male lead, a bloodlord, and an abnormal vampire sub. He comes from a long line of very powerful and successful vampires and is expected to do great things. He is very capable, but can also be incredibly naive, like buying a big shiny bike that is very ostentatious and very noticeable for your dom. Maybe keep it under wraps. Maybe don't do that. He's also a champion of fairness and doesn't punish or harm anyone for no reason. He has a soft spot for humans and is 100% against the weird extra shit other vamps do to them. He's just a very compassionate little guy. Mm-hmm. So he really is that person who's like, I have to put on a big show about why I'm doing it, but I don't want to hurt you. I don't think you should die. I don't think you should be thrown out for doing XYZ. It wasn't that big of a deal. We should be taking care of you, because if that's how we're supposed to be raised, why are we vampires not taking care of you if that's what we've positioned ourselves as? So he has a more, like, paternal feeling about it that eventually turns into, well, maybe vampires are bad, actually. Maybe I'm a jerk. wait a second.
Mm-hmm. Like, he has that discovery of, oh shit, I have privilege.
Yes.
And it's, like, really high.
And immediately it's like, I gotta do something about this.
Yes.
He's usually very lonely, but one fixes that real fucking quick. So that's the other thing, too, is he has his own stuff. So he's aware of his privilege, understands why he has his other problems, really works hard on addressing a lot of his issues, which I really appreciated. I don't feel like you get to appreciate it enough because you're so busy doing other stuff in this comic, but he tries to fix shit very quickly. It doesn't take him much to be like, okay then. Reign Fear, and I mean reign as in reigning over people.
Reign Fear. This is a character's name.
Yes, this is a character's name.
Oh,
Reign
God,
Fear.
I forgot about these names.
This is what I mean. Let me pick a strong name. He's going to be a king, so we'll call him Reign. And he's going to be horrifying to people, so we'll call him Fear. And that's how a lot of the vampires have been making their names.
God
is
damn.
What sounds crazy. You know, like what sounds really scary to people. So Reign Fear.
My name is Taxes. Ooh.
Reign Fear is a perfume salesman and a fellow abnormal vampire. This is the one I was just talking about. He's old friends with Shell, and even tries to marry him for a time. He has a strong spirit and is actually quite brilliant. His creations are integral to settling the shenaniganery at the end of the story as well. So he makes perfume.
Nice.
And his perfume essentially is kind of helping people who don't have pheromones or don't have a lot of pheromones fight back, because he can kind of make it smell like pheromones. So vampires are normally bothered by other vampires' pheromones. They can put the perfume on and it kind of like dampens it. And he even uses it himself. Because he's like, well, I just want to smell good. But then it also ends up kind of mimicking what stronger people in society have and stuff like that. So he's weirdly democratizing pheromone usage, if that makes sense. And so that's why he's such an interesting character outside of the whole establishing that he's another abnormal. He's really
making soap for everyone, essentially.
Yeah, he's legitimately trying to seize society by the balls and be like, I will be here too. You can't stop me. Because he's also, I think, been disowned by his family, but now he's independently rich because he sells perfume. So 9 is a fellow banker and close friends with 1 and 13. The poor guy is super susceptible to pheromones, but he's a good worker and an excellent friend. And I'm mentioning him because he shows up a lot at the beginning and 1 really cares for him. That's kind of the thing. He doesn't do a ton. I do believe he has like a crush on 1 as well, but it's kind of the same situation that Reign and Shell were having, where it's like, I admire you.
It's deep admiration.
But then we also find out that 1 kind of has some secrets and that he feels like he shouldn't be admired. There's some layers here. There's some like similarities between him and Shell both feeling like they are putting on airs.
They are duping people.
Yes.
I want to know if 13 gets his ass chapped, because he should get his ass chapped.
Okay, well, we're about to talk about 13. 13 is another banker and is 1's rival. He is very much an asshole to 1, going so far as to almost get him expelled, but there is actually a reason for all of this vitriol, and it's not what you'd expect. It doesn't excuse what he does, but with all the other things going on in the comic, you start realizing, oh, that makes a lot more sense, because he's kind of scared of him, and I will tell you why he's afraid of him at the end, but he is afraid of 1, and when you realize that, you're like, oh, that's okay, I kind of get it. He is pretty overprotective of 9, and that's the only thing that he and 1 can ever agree on, is 9 should be protected at all times. But he can't fight pheromones either, so he can't be as helpful. And he's black, and he doesn't die.
Hey, that's nice, because I didn't necessarily want him to die.
But he
like,
deserves to get humbled a little bit.
Yes, like, I don't approve of you trying to get someone, when you're in the fight.
Yeah.
When you're being oppressed. Don't shit or spit on the person being oppressed with you.
I agree.
Save that vitriol for the man with the boot on your neck.
Yeah, let's not be crabs in the bucket. We're going to help each other get out. Yeah, I get you. Pain Overlord is a blood lord and Shell's father. So Shell's father's name is Pain. His dad had high hopes for him. He's incredibly strong and comes equipped with pheromones strong enough to dominate any other vampire. He's pretty aloof, but beneath his unaffected exterior are a lot of complex emotions. He bears a striking resemblance to his son, and that resemblance goes much deeper than you'd expect.
Hey, he wants to be dumbed.
No. And I'm about to explain why that's not it. It's other more nuanced shit, but I'm going to explain to you why it's not that he wants to be dumbed.
Okay.
So, I have to talk about him, even though we haven't met him. He's only been mentioned, like, once by one at this point, because this guy owns the territory above the Midlands. But we have Brutal Bones.
Brutal Bones.
Yes.
That's the name.
Yes, it sounds like you're trying to name a pit bull, right?
Oh, he is a pit bull. Oh no. Brutal Bones, come here.
This is what I'm saying. So, Brutal Bones is the big bad bloodlord of the North and is one of the main villains. He is obsessed with power to his detriment and doesn't give a single shit about maintaining peace. He participates in some of the more heinous shit that happens in this manhwa, and it's not even for a good reason. You don't actually get to meet him for a long time, but you do need to know that Pain tops him.
The dad.
Yeah. They do like a flashback scene where they were like a little bit younger, and they're having some sort of political conversation about like, are we going to have a treaty next year, blah, blah, blah. And then Pain just slips it in and goes to town because they've already been fucking, and so now they're continuing the fucking. And Brutal Bones is like beefy as shit. And Pain is like his son and is a bit of a twink-twonk.
Look, I love a big man getting topped, so I'm kind of into this.
And so I was just like, I've been given a gift that I didn't ask for, but also Brutal Bones is an asshole.
That is the only part that makes it suck.
Yeah.
Because I would like it if, like, he was an asshole, but you could still like his character.
Yeah, because it's a little bit like, I'm fucking you to help convince you that we need to have this treaty and do it this way, and like, aren't we friends? And I'm like, what is going on? Vampires just be fucking whatever.
I mean, vampires, that is like, the thing they do.
Because they do live a long time as well, so there's a lot, like, a lot of the stereotypical vampire lore is in here. They can't go out in the sunlight, but like, they basically, instead of burning immediately, they're just very sensitive to heat, and they're very sensitive to sun. So
and they'll faint on the fainting couches.
Not quite that, but like, they can get sunburned really bad and really quickly, and then their bodies just don't process heat very well. They're built for cold, whereas the humans are built more for heat. And so the humans being in where they are like always a little sickly feeling because it's so cold, versus the vampires being like, haha, strip my clothes off, fuck somebody in the town square. It feels great. Vampires are me, basically. Never wearing pants if they don't have to.
It's 10 feet of snow and you were out there in your short shorts and I'm losing my mind.
Poppin' pussy, yeah. There are several other important characters, including villains, but that would give way too much away. And I do apologize that a character is named Humpty Dumpty.
No. Is Humpty Dumpty important?
Yeah.
No, baby, why are you Humpty Dumpty?
There's a whole other... Okay.
Who did this to you?
I talked a little bit about how like a vampire can technically pick up a human and do whatever they want to them, and no other vampire can say shit.
Someone name a human Humpty Dumpty.
Yes, so...
That's so mean.
There's a whole other market where they are trying to breed humans to be vampire companions.
Like pets or...
Like pets.
Or sex.
Derogatory.
Sex slaves.
And then also like, oh, when they turn a certain age, just drain them of their blood and you'll have a good time. So they're trying to make designer pets, basically, right?
Here, sweetie. You're 12 years old in vampire years. Here's your companion. Now that you're 20, drink them till the dead.
Legitimately, yeah.
Like,
a lot of vampires are getting them as kids, even.
I saw where this is going, but I'm just like, in my damn brain... You gave me something to love and to cherish, and you want me to kill it.
Legitimately? Okay. This comes up, too, where some vampires are like, I'm not going to get rid of it. I've imprinted on it.
I've had it for years.
And they're the weird ones. And they're just like, no, I want to keep it. Stop. Don't tell me what to do. But yeah, so some of these designer humans, basically, have names that people are like, oh, they're such a good name because they're from the old books. And the problem is, some of the old books are nursery rhymes. And so because they're ancient text, they take them way too seriously. And so they name like important characters bonkers ass names because they think it's a special name. Because they don't remember this is just a nursery rhyme.
Dog, imagine being called Humpty Dumpty.
It sucks. Because his mom had a more normal name. It was like Ariel or something like that. It was from a different like children's thing. Yeah, like his mom had a different name and this poor character's named Humpty Dumpty. And then, what pisses me off more, his name is relevant to the plot.
Why?
I'll cut
it out.
I'm gonna cut it out. editing check here. This is the spot where a spoiler would go, and I do want to emphasize the spoiler is so good that Keelz is very satisfied. However, you will not have that satisfaction until you actually read it. Go for it. Bye. But yeah, so again, like, a lot of the names in here, you have to look at it under the lens of... The artist tried to make it apparent that these people are picking weird shit because they are so far removed from whatever we consider normal human society now. So they've gone completely different. And it is honestly a thing, especially in Korean naming, that you name your kid something... Well, not just Korean naming, but Japanese naming too. Like, you'll name your kid in a way to kind of tell their future. Like, I'm going to call you a name that means resilient so that you will be resilient in the future, right?
I've heard of this.
And so that's the naming convention she's following, but these stupid-ass vampires can't just call you Bethany. They have to call you the ball crusher. You know what I mean? It has to be something like that every time. So, okay. Let's take this to the end. Let's start wrapping this up. Obviously, Blood Bank is a wild fucking ride. You start with somewhat silly, semi-dystopian vampire-human BDSM romp, and before you realize, you're balls deep in a post-apocalyptic horror mystery with enough generational trauma to last a millennia. And truthfully, the hints are all there as long as you pay attention. And we've already talked about this a lot, but like, at the beginning, yes, it's silly, but is established early and often that vampires are in charge of humans, their food source, and the social hierarchy allows them complete control over every aspect of human life. One of the other bankers are thankful to have a job. Well, we talked about why that is. Like, they have some sort of leg up. They get nice things. They feel like they're a little more in control of their lives. But they legit work at a bank that they are required to donate to several times a week. Because all the humans on the human farm have to donate blood several times a week. And then they are rated and graded on that blood. And if a human farm doesn't do well, then, like, they may get dropped by the bank or something like that. Or another bank may have to pick them up. Or, you know, they'll give them more food for the week if their blood is graded higher.
Well,
if
you want the blood to be good, you need to give them good food from
and
the start.
That's what's stupid. And that's even something I believe that Shell brings up. Like, why aren't we just doing better for them? And it's like when you finally get that new manager at work and they're like, why are we doing this way?
Yeah, oh my god.
That's fucking stupid. Yeah. And so they're literally assisting in the wholesale trade of their blood in exchange for a handful of privileges that they could lose at any moment. Humans live on fucking farms and are fed rations. Like, they're prisoners in their own lives. And that's established as early as, like, chapter 2 or 3. So despite all the weird shit that Shell's doing, you should be
I saw the human huts.
Like, see, you're keyed into the human huts. Other people aren't. It's emphasized early that if you're susceptible to pheromones, vampires can make you do whatever the fuck they want. And even Shell, our goofy little sub, is being exceedingly careful to not unnecessarily frighten or harm any humans, because he's very well aware of the abuses that they face. And this gets layered in within the first few chapters. You should be aware about the world they live in, that it is lopsided and it is bleak. And yet it still creeps up on you, because Silb paints on a shiny veneer of comedy and alluring sadomasochism. I was also one of the victims to the whiplash that this comic gives you. But let's talk about what Silb does with this bleak setting that keeps you locked in even after the other shoe drops. Firstly, the BDSM scenes do a lot of heavy lifting. They're pornographic, obvi, which is good, but also they say a lot about our characters. Both One and Shell work through their insecurities and fears through their play, which in BDSM you can do. You normally talk about it more than they do, but they are using the BDSM as a vehicle to kind of
like, you hear it, but sex can be therapy, man.
Exactly. One specifically has to confront his fears and his past, because his issues start bubbling to the surface whenever they fool around. Like, he nearly goes too far in a couple of sessions, something he has, like, active nightmares about, but it's not at all about his personal feelings for Shell. In those moments, Shell represents vampire kind and all the terrible things that they have done. And so he does have a couple moments, because they do not have real guardrails up, that he's like, I just hate what you represent. And then he's like, but I don't hate you, but I'm so frustrated about other stuff that's happening in my life that I'm suddenly like...
I'm venting on you.
Yes, yes. Which is not safe, sane, or consensual. But guess what? In a world where vampires cannot be submissive and humans have no agency, consensual BDSM does not exist.
Yeah, so it's a rougher BDSM play.
Yes, Shell and One are legit pioneering appropriate dom-sub relationships.
Yeah. And again, you can play this way. You can be as rough as you want in BDSM, as gentle as you want, as soft or as whatever. It's all about communication setting up.
Yeah.
So this type of play could be okay, but what we're talking here is that they are not having that communication because they are having to, like, essentially reinvent the wheel.
Exactly. They are having to literally make up BDSM as they go along.
Mm-hmm.
In response to these times where one goes off the rails, Shell just takes it and asks if his master is okay. One, because vampire resilience, like their bodies are extra strong. But two, because he doesn't know it's time to stop.
Yeah. He doesn't know that it's time to pull off.
Yeah. So, like, One comes up with a safe word after these events because he learns there should be limits for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've seen plenty of people be like, well, I wanted this to be a BDSM where they actually did BDSM correctly, and blah, blah, blah. And I fully understand. I've read plenty of the other BDSM boy loves and some of the girl loves, and they're often just like, I don't know, I'll whip you around a little bit and maybe show up at your mom's workplace, but that's fine. And it's like, don't. Yeah. But this case...
Yeah, I do get wanting a good BDSM, but it's weird because they're actually kind of teaching you good BDSM by being like, look how fucked up it is.
Well, I think people just want someone to, like, actually see the play, you know. They don't want to be taught. They want to just enjoy the play, right?
Right.
But I understand in most cases why you would want that. But in this case, it's appropriate to what they're living through. They could not do this better. It actually wouldn't make sense for the story if they did do it better. And to be honest, they keep it pretty soft.
Mm-hmm.
They keep it honestly fairly soft. The scenes that we do get to see, they keep it fairly soft. I think the worst one does is like whip Shell. And again, vampire resilience. So while it hurts, it's not going to leave a mark. One regularly does aftercare. I was shocked. He figures out very quickly, like, oh, I should put cream on your back and stuff like that. So as much as people have criticisms about that, I thought that they navigate this together as a couple, essentially, of what they should and should not be doing. Start setting different boundaries.
It kind of feels like they're teenagers figuring it out.
Yes.
Because, like, let's be honest here. Teens have sex. Teens have sex.
Of course they do. Yeah.
I was a teenager having sex. I'm going to say it. Teens have sex. And because you don't either want to talk about it, at least in the society I grew up in, or you don't want to tell anyone, you kind of figured out, and it's rough shot. Especially, like, again, I grew up in a time where not everyone had access to the internet. Not everyone knew what stuff was. You couldn't ask things out. Like, you just kind of figure out how to touch yourself. And sometimes you're doing something wrong or incorrect, and you don't know. Sometimes you're doing something wrong or incorrect with your partner, and you don't know until, like, someone says, hey, this is, like, not working.
Right.
But when you're a teen, you don't think to say that. So what we're kind of getting is it's, like, teens figuring out their bodies and sex, and it's gonna be rough. Like,
and honestly, in their case, too, it's not just their bodies and sex, but love and relationships, because, like I said, Shell grows up in a loveless home. Like, his dad does care about him. We do find out his dad, like, cares very much about him and stuff like that. But he didn't love his wife. He immediately sent her back to her house to, like, go live with the other kids. It was like, yeah, give me the kid that looks like me and get rid of the other ones. So Shell doesn't know a lot about, like...
Did she keep the other ones, or...
She kept the other kids, yeah.
Okay, because when you say get rid of the other ones, it's like, uh-oh.
Sorry, yeah. But, like, Shell doesn't really know a lot about familial love and what it can look like. He doesn't know anything about romantic love, truthfully, either.
Yeah.
He only knows, like, you know, some sort of admiration. And then One has his own issues that he is pressing all the way down, too. So they don't know how to do BDSM properly with each other. They don't really know how to love each other and are figuring out how to do that. They don't even realize that they're really developing a relationship till pretty late. And until things are about to go down, only then are they like, holy shit, I think I don't want to live without you. They are starting at the bottom, truthfully. They really are.
Yeah. And I would say that's, again, true for young people. You don't understand the extent of your emotions. You've heard about how to love someone, how to like someone. But you don't exactly know what that is until you're in it. So, like...
Exactly. It's hard.
Like,
hard.
love, and lust are all hard.
Shit's hard.
Yeah, so this is a very cool...
And, of course, then all the other people that are trying... There's multiple people outside of just Rain and his, like, oh, I'm enamored with Shell. There are several other situations like that come up like that, too, where people are trying to figure out what kind of love they have for another person, and then having to reconcile with that when you don't have the tools to do it. You have, like, you need a wrench, and you only have an Allen wrench, but you're trying to fix a car. You know what I mean? Like, that's where a lot of the characters in this comic are starting with, is they have one single teeny tiny IKEA Allen wrench, and they need to, you know, fuck with a submarine.
Yeah.
You know? One in Shell's sexual struggles echo the greater societal issues that other characters are going through. While our couple is developing boundaries and establishing consent, the rest of the world is being batshit. Humans can't consent to their blood being taken, nor to anything else a vampire asks of them. Lesser vampires have to bend a knee to other, more powerful members of their kin. Pheromones are used willy-nilly just to flex and establish dominance in most mundane situations. Fear, like I mentioned before, makes the perfumes to, like, address the gap between weaker and abnormal vampires and his peers. He himself is a target despite being the son of an elite, because it turns out you can't predict genetics, and you never know what kind of baby you're gonna have.
Yeah.
So you have a whole planet full of people who are extremely on edge, angry, frustrated, vindictive, and the only thing keeping folks from going apeshit is the threat of death, dismemberment, exile, etc. It has to be something that's going to severely harm them, right? This is some pre-French Revolution sort of shit.
Yeah, it's something.
Like, people at their breaking point, the dam could break at any time, and is breaking in small ways across the various characters in this comic. It also means that bad things have happened or are happening for reasons that aren't necessarily wrong, too. Because the French did behead a lot of people. And some of it felt pretty okay. But there are plenty of others that was like, that was too far.
Others that was real fucked up. The Reign of Terror was a real fucked up time after the assassination, the murder of the monarchy. And, like, well, I'm not gonna say I would necessarily want to cut someone's head off. If you look through what they were going through,
you get it.
Yeah. Like, the starvation, the oppression, the like, I was reading something very fascinating about how, like, because there's a point where the king and the queen and their children, they leave France. And France has never known a sunrise without a king. So everyone in France is holding their breath because they're like, we don't know what a world will be like if there's not a king telling us what to do. And what happens?
The sun rises.
The sun rises. The people wake up. There's still food out in the fields you gotta harvest. You still have to go to work. But there's no king. The sun didn't die out. You can do it without them. And that's the first time a lot of people had that thought. Like, a lot of poverty level people had that thought. Because, like, they don't know. They don't have education.
They don't have access to education, yeah.
Like, maybe aristocrats were having that thoughts. Maybe nobles were having that thoughts. But no one's saying it out loud. Because that's the king and queen. Don't say that out loud.
Exactly.
So, with them being gone, and this is my thought, as I think they would not have been executed if they hadn't tried to flee. I don't know if they would have survived if they'd stayed, but if they hadn't fled, people wouldn't have woken up to the fact, oh, I can do it without you.
Right. And this is where we are. Is this tenuous situation of one wrong move with all these people miserable, because it's not just humans, it's other vampires that are also miserable and, like, bitter and angry as well. This could flip at any time if the wrong fucking thing snaps, if the wrong fucking thing goes wrong. It could be something super small and start some bitch-ass revolution. Or start some bitch-ass problem where people are tearing each other's throats out or whatever. Things are bad. And so, when people do certain things in this comic, I'm like, yeah, okay. That's extreme, but I get you. So, I mentioned Brutal Bones being a main villain, and his reasoning being straightforward and dumb, and that's because it's true. The other villains that appear, you can't consistently call them villainous. They are hurt, they are angry, they have faced incredible injustices, and they are looking for relief in all the wrong ways. And truthfully, if it wasn't these specific characters at this specific time, there would have been someone, because the society they live in is unsustainable. So yes, it happened in a terrible way, but good for them.
Yeah.
Something happened, at least. So, needless to say, The events in this comic are pretty horrifying, like existentially and graphically. You watch a kid die, and then you sit there and wonder if it's better that he died considering what his life could have been.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, that's okay. Well, no, it's not. I'm still upset, but okay. But I appreciate the care and effort put into fleshing out truly complicated characters and making a fantastical world feel uncomfortably real. With yaoi sprinkled on top. That's just as a treat. This comic isn't all doom and gloom either. For all the wrongs that have been committed, there are plenty of characters quietly fighting the good fight and working for a better future. There's still love and kindness and hope. Shell and One still develop a love that crosses boundaries, continents, their species, society. All of these things they surmount to continue to be together, and then to also bring the goodness that they have to other people. They don't just stop at like, okay, we're good, I guess we're not going to worry about it. They actively work to try and change the society they live in to be a better thing. One big thing is he finds out that his existence is so important to the earth in a way that he had no idea, that he finally feels comfortable with himself and like attains a certain level of peace and stuff. And you're treated to all of this by way of some truly gorgeous art, excellent pacing, and a passion for storytelling. Blood Bank is a type of story that comes at you fast, then faster, then tackles you to the ground like a linebacker out for blood. It's significantly more than the sum of its parts, presenting an interesting nuanced tale of overcoming oppression and accepting yourself, sins and all. And also that BDSM is forever.
BDSM is forever.
Can't escape it. In a million timelines, I would still whip your ass.
Oh.
So, if you want to have a truly horrific, sexy, and emotional time, Blood Bank is for you. You can read it on Layzen. It contains BDSM, dubious consent, torture, gore, murder, dead kids, non-consensual experimentation, implied pedophilia, implied sexual assault, manipulation, slavery, violence, and of course, blood. I also have a special warning. So there is a kid appearing character in certain sexual situations. I know a lot of people get really upset with like, oh, well, this character looks too young and they're in a sexual situation, and they make up like an age for them. I know a lot of people have been frustrated, like, oh, well, she's a 900-year-old dragon, so it's okay. But she looks
5 or whatever.
There is a situation like that in this comic. They look like, I guess, probably like a 14-year-old. And so if that's going to bother you, the optics of it, also, don't do this. They are an important character. They matter a lot. They're going to show up a lot. They are, I want to say, 50. And you do find out that they know that they are 50. They have lived a long time. There have been things done. It's a whole situation, right? But if it bothers you that they are nude, that they are in sexual situations, whatever, nix this. You don't gotta read it. I will also say there's no way to fully untangle the stuff that happens in this comic. Even if I had several hours to explain everything, you should just read it, because there's a villain, and then there's another villain, and then there's another villain, and this villain's helping out that villain, but this villain actually isn't the villain. This one's like doing whatever. And so it takes a while to unravel everything. There is a lot of mystery in there. And that's not even addressing the mysteries about Shell's past, about One's past, about where the world is today. Shell's dad is holding on to like a piece of the puzzle that you need to know for a while, because they mentioned some sort of treaty for a long time, and you don't know what the treaty is, but they keep like saying it ominously, and so you feel kind of like tense about it, and then you don't find out what it is for a while, and then when you do, you're like, holy fucking shit. There's a lot. There's a lot in here. I would say that this is like, if you had like a condensed version of Kingsmaker. They try to cover a lot of ground and have a lot of shit happen. There's a lot of moving pieces. They're just not doing as much as Kingsmaker. And they're not covering as much time as Kingsmaker. So I believe they only cover about a year in this, and then there are epilogues later. Also want to confirm, as an extra, that Shell and One live. People think that One dies at the end. It's really clear he didn't. But I'm telling you guys anyway, because I don't know what it is, but I saw a lot of people...
Why do people think he died? Is it just very vague?
No.
Okay.
They literally show you what happened with images, and so I don't know. But whatever, One survives at the end. He and Shell are a couple, they're fine. I will say there were supposed to be extras for this that were not able to be completed because this comic was completed around the time of the Lays-In strike. And so, Silb, from what I understand, like, canceled her contract to do anything else. So she drew a couple of other, like, just fun images on her Twitter of these two, but then after that, she didn't finish up. So there was supposed to be more lore about what happens to One and Shell after the fact, and she never got to that. She's also supposed to do an AU, and she never got to that either. So this is, there are several comics that got lost in the Lays-In strike war. Yeah, essentially, yeah. So this is one of them. Yeah. But, okay, any other questions, or?
No, I think I'm all good.
Okay, so what is your whole rating?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know when I'd read this. I'm not gonna, like, this is just something I wouldn't want to touch on right now.
No, don't.
I'm gonna be real, I'm battling depression with the state of our world. I think a lot of people are. A lot of people are feeling uncertain. A lot of people are feeling scared. Right now, I don't really want to touch media that is kind of reflecting what we're already going through. It's scary. So I don't think right now I'd read it. But, like, I'm pretending that this is me in 2018. I don't know. Yeah. I'm pretending that this is me pretending that this is me even a year ago.
Or, like, the week we got married.
That was a good week.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of it because I was so stressed, but it was a good week.
But yeah, like the week we got married and like COVID was chilling out, like, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah. But, like, I think I would give it, I think I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10, maybe a 6 out of 10. You told me a secret that is not kept in the episode, and that actually does drop a hole off for me, because I hate when something happens that doesn't have a good enough reason, you know? Like, I don't mind if you're hurting me, but, like, I do want a little bit of a reason for certain types of pain you're putting me through. If you're putting me through a certain type of pain and there's no goddamn good reason, that's too close to how the world works. Like, again, I like stuff for fantasy's sake, so I want a little fantasy. Don't remind me that the world can be a pretty awful, cruel place. So I would say I'm just going to put it at a point, 6.5 out of 10, since I'm so uncertain if I'm going 6 or 7. So 6.5 out of 10. I'm very intrigued. The art is beautiful. The story is good. I like that there's a uniqueness to the vampires without it being sparkling. Everything's pretty interesting. There's a lot of discomfort in it. A lot of, like, figuring shit out. Sounds like a cool story. Not for me right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't know. Right now, just, like, there's enough stuff in it that I'm like, 6.5 out of 10. Sounds cool. Might not be to my flavor.
This is one that I feel like if you like a really intense read that does have some humor, has some interesting bits to it, that kind of just grabs you and puts you in there, this is fine. If you're one of those people that, like, even when things are bad, you still want to read something that goes on a little bit of a journey or something like that, that's fine. I used to recommend this to people all the time. And I haven't recommended it to anybody in about a year and a half.
Yeah, it's a rough one.
So, while I think it's very good, it is definitely one of my favorites. It's one that I remember large chunks of all the time. Like, it's just, you know, in the bank. But yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. I do not disagree. I understand. But if you want more from Silb, me too, girl. You can find her on Twitter at Silb_B. That's SILB_B. But she hasn't been active since 2019. She's got no other credited work either. So if you find anything new by her, please email me. Holy shit. I need her to do something else. Because as good as this was, my next thought was, man, can't wait for her next thing.
Doesn't do it.
I need her to write something. Draw something, anything. I am begging on my hands and knees. If you find her, if you listen to this podcast or you read it and you find her, I'm not kidding, email me.
We're putting a bounty out there.
Essentially, I need to know what's going on with her. I'm desperate. I'm so desperate.
2 internet kisses if you tell us where.
An internet blowjob if you tell me where she is. Jesus, are you kidding me?
I don't know. I don't want to.
You don't have to. This is about me.
Okay.
Jeez.
I wasn't going to offer a blowjob out there. Good lord.
Editing check back again. Surprise! I kind of found Silb. She's still AWOL social media wise, but she has put together physical copies of Blood Bank in French, German, and Italian, featuring newly drawn cover art and a handful of other new illustrations. So, can confirm, she's alive and drawing still. Not sure if she drew the extras for the book, like all the epilogues and stuff like that, but if you speak one of the previous languages and end up with the physical copies, please let me know. And if you know anything else about her, offer still stands, wink wink nudge nudge, please give me anything else available, and there's something in it for you. Thanks. Oh, you want more Hole? Peruse our socials, Tumblr, and Bluesky at Hole-Chat. Bussy inquiries and information about Silb should be sent to hole.chat.69@gmail.com. We appreciate it, a lot, anytime you like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. So please continue doing so, and don't be afraid to reach out if you have questions, comments, suggestions, whatever. Keelz doesn't bite anymore, and I have learned soft mouth.
What is soft mouth?
Where you can put an egg in a dog's mouth and they don't break it. Soft mouth.
Oh, okay, I did not think that's what that was.
Mm-hmm. And we will be back next week with our anniversary episode.
Ooh, that's right. This podcast has been going a while.
Yeah, the day after you're listening to this, day after Halloween, because it's coming out. Obviously, happy Halloween. It's Halloween today. The day after this comes out will be our anniversary officially. It'll be November 1st. We'll have an anniversary episode the following Friday after this one. So please give it a listen. Doing something a little bit special to hopefully uplift some creators that I really like. So stay tuned. That's all for now. Thanks for listening, and tighten up.
Tighten up.